investments to support new careers, stipend placement, 10,000 ESWs, state long-term care, 10 grand, and ESW staffing and equipment, still trying to reach their department. Still a complaints that's shifts that are not being picked up. And so occupational health and safety establish excellent training and Eastern money to do first hand set up budgeting operationally there for 6 months. It's cutting down doctor's calls. She had nurses, it must be responsible nurses, so more their job. Floors replaced. They finished the insurance work. They got it all done. We paid our bill for $104,000 for insurance, and then they said, we want to look at your boilers. So that's the next thing. If you have to replace boilers, I can't imagine what it's going to cost. But anyway,
millions.
Yep. Attended fire inspection, and the fire inspection has now said they have to cut a bunch of trees around East Home because they're too close with the new fire policy. So that'll go over well with the community. The new air systems are still being commissioned. We've already had to do window warranty work on the windows that were put in August. When they brought the window down, no, when they closed the bottom, the top opened up. So Geldwin company has came and they fixed it, except one, they had to take them out, put bigger springs in the top so that it hold the top up. And after that, we got a payment. I love that they call it payment certificate. Just means we owed. So we owed $137,000, but they also received the certificate for substantial completion as of December 15th. So they have 2 months to withhold payment till everything's done till then. So that's where we are now. And because it's government money, it has to all be audited. So we have to bring in an auditor to make sure that we spent the money where we're supposed to spend the money. And, but the good news, because of the update on the, on everything, the air systems, we received a rebate from Enbridge for $22,000. So that's positive. And long-term care inspections, they were there this same week that we had our meeting. And I'll give you a little more on that in a minute. Bill C-295 came up. It's an act to amend criminal code to put in penalties for neglect of vulnerable adults. And that's for East Home. And long-term care homes are saying if you do this, every volunteer and every board member and supervisory positions, people will want to fill them because you screw up, you could go to jail. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Staffing shortages continue for staffing. Also, our original international workers have been there for a year. Now they could apply for landed immigrant status. And we'll lose some of them because they want to go to the big city. You know, having trouble, and it's the ones we do have, and I listened to an ad today that said they're fast streaming, but we have people doing PSW work that are nurses, like registered nurses. They've done the test, they've passed, but now the government wants them to do an internship or whatever, where they are already been nurses for 10 and 15 years in other countries. So there are still a bunch of bottlenecks, and these people are going to leave because of that. And because of that, if we go to agency staff, so if we have to hire these employment agencies to come in and staff, they charge 3 times what we pay a nurse or a PSW or an RPN. So we're trying to avoid that, but it's not working out really well. And when I said that we had been inspected, right now our administrator is on holidays. So they've sent me the information, but there is, and I'll bring it out, there's 13 pages that I have to go through before I can open the information. That's for Privacy Act. And as John Paul will speak to, I seem to have some issues with the computer and that kind of thing. So right now I'm a little deadlocked on that. So I have to spend an hour at East Home getting through the levels of decoding so I can get the information. And but it's 13 pages. It's on my phone to read. So that's it from East Home. And the next meeting is January 24th, 2024. So there's never a dull moment there. So, and just like Nipissing Township, never a dull moment. So with that, let us move on to adopt the minutes of the meeting held December 19th. So a mover and the seconder, Councillor Yam and Councillor Turkey. Number R 2024-001, moved by Councillor Yam, seconded by Councillor Turkey, that the minutes of the council meeting held December 19th, 2023 be adopted as published. All in favor? Carried. Sure, are we?
Transfer them.
Okay, congratulations. We're doing, the next one is authorized attendance at municipal conferences. Couldn't transfer, we can transfer, we can't book off. So I thank you again, and
I'm it.
you're it. This is a motion for municipal conference. I need a mover and seconder. Okay. Glad you put it in your calendar. It's number R 2024-002. Moved by Councillor Butler, seconded by Councillor Foote, that we authorize attendance at 2024 municipal conferences as follows. Good Roads Conference, April 21st to 24th. Dan McGinnis is added as Operations Superintendent. Federation of Northern Ontario Municipalities, May 6th to 8th, Shelley Foote is being added, and Councillor Steve Kirky will gladly attend the Rural Ontario Municipal Association Conference in my place, January 21st to 23rd, 2024. Comments or questions?
Why is it always held in Toronto if it's Northern Ontario municipality? Just
Rural
rural Ontario municipalities.
That's a really good question. Probably there's no place up here big enough. I'm fooling. I really don't know. It's all under AMOS.
Yes, and it used to piggyback, I believe, with Good Roads. So it was the Roma Good Roads Conference, and I think that's where it started originating down in Toronto.
There'd be 2,200 people there
Oh, I see.
in those days, yeah, long time ago.
Well, Lamo has a large gathering
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
You're not going to Phnom anymore?
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
These were just
I'm just-
additions.
these
I'm
are
replacing-
additional ones. So good, I'm glad you had That was a very good question. Now, all in favor? Carried with the lights. Moving along. We're at Cemetery Committee. We had an opening and James Scott has applied for the opening, so I need a mover and a seconder. Okay. Councillor Foot, Councillor Butler, I'm just gonna take it easy on you, Councillor Kirky, because so good of you. It's number 2024-003, moved by Councillor Foot, seconded by Councillor Butler, that we appoint James Scott to the Township of Nipissing Cemetery Committee for the remainder of the term of council. All in favor? Carried. And next, the Rec Committee. And I need a mover and a seconder. Councillor Kirky and Councillor Yam. It's number R 2024-004, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Yam. Excuse me, that we appoint Kim Turnbull as interim secretary to the Township of Nipissing Recreation Committee. All in favor? Carried. There, Kim, it was unanimous.
These are just contracts that didn't get accomplished in 2023, so we're just moving the money back into reserve.
Okay, so this is number R 2024-005. So again, moving money into reserves. A mover and a seconder, Councillor Foot and Councillor Butler. So then R 2024-005, moved by Councillor Foot, seconded by Councillor Butler, that we transfer the following to reserve for the 2023 budget for use upon project completion in 2024. 68,885.07 to operating reserve for the final purchase costs of Town Suite software program. 100,000 designated towards Bear Creek landfill closing costs from the operating reserve, and 90,000 designated for the garage roof replacement from the operating reserve. So those were all resolutions before. We're just moving them for this year. Comments or questions?
Are we gonna do the roof on the garage this year?
I think we're investigating that.
Good.
All in favor? Carried. Okay, the next one, for those of you who have been to council meetings and been on council, the interim tax levy. And we do this every year, and that is just to,
We authorize the billing for half of the previous year's taxes. That goes out in January. It's due March 31st.
because we won't have a budget at that time. So a mover into seconder, okay, Councillor Kirky and Councillor Foot. So it's number R 2024-006, moved by Councillor Kirky, seconded by Councillor Foot, that we pass bylaw number 2024-01, being a bylaw to provide for an interim tax levy, read a first, second, and third time, and pass the second day of January 2024. Comments or questions? All in favor? Yep. Okay, we did the emergency management program a couple weeks ago. One of the things was a CAO, and now it's an administrator, municipal administrator, so we have to correct the title. So I need a mover and a seconder, Councillor M, Councillor Butler. Number R 2024-007, moved by Councillor Yam, seconded by Councillor Butler, that we pass bylaw number 2024-02, being a bylaw to appoint an emergency management program for the Township of Nipissing Committee, for the Township of Nipissing Committee, for the Township of Nipissing. Read a first, second, and third time and passed the second day of January 2024. All in favor? Carried. Correspondence. We're going to look at a way to deal with correspondence. It isn't necessary, and this came from my doctor lately, a shotgun approach. What happens is they will send correspondence out to every municipality, whether it has anything to do with us or not, like transit, above ground, underground transit. We have no transit, things like that, but the approach is sent out, and it's called a shotgun approach. Just scatters, and whoever it hits that it fits, then they will have to deal with it. But what we've been doing is dealing with it all, because it says to every municipality in Ontario. Some of it doesn't fit. So we're going to look in the future at how we can deal with this, because we're going to spend more time on correspondence tonight than we're going to do on anything else. So I attempt to keep it brief, but I want you to know that we're going to work on that. So number one, Boston District Union Library. It's info, because our representative, before I even knew this, I wrote down our representative has given us an excellent presentation already. So secondly, City of Thunder Bay regarding advocacy, short-term rentals. We continue to look at that. You're going to see it at AMO, FNUM, and you're going to see it at Roma. And it's also on our agenda for the
Special meeting
on the 10th. So it's there. District of Parry Sound Social Services Administration Board Chief Administrative Officer's report. It's info on support services, childcare, Ontario Work, social housing, emergency shelter, etc. All there for us to read, and they don't ask for anything. Resolution from Tate Township regarding provincial cemeteries management support request. We don't have any cemeteries in this category.
Not that require any support.
So again, it's information. The draft minutes of the District of Parry Sound Municipal Association executive meeting, and it's info about the executive meeting. 6, resolution from the Township of Conmead regarding requested amendments to the Municipal Elections Act. This is going to Roma and AMO. It's an interesting one. If your record hasn't been pardoned, you can't run for office, and you must resign if you're convicted. So if we're sitting now and get convicted of a felony, you have to resign. Evidently, the way I read it, that's not a rule. So you can be a convicted felon and still be the mayor or councillor. So, and I wonder why this came up in Conmead, which is near Thunder Bay, I believe. So it's going to be looked at Roma and AMO. I don't think we have to support this yet. I'd like to see what they come up with. Steve.
This is just a thought, because I read it also. Now, does that apply? Are they thinking of applying this just for municipal, or are they talking about provincial and federal as well? Just throwing that out there.
That's why it'll be interesting to see what Roma and AMO come up with, you know, and you've served your time, but you haven't officially been pardoned. So again, you know, I always thought if you do your time, then, you know, so I want to see how this goes. I will be following that. Not that I have any convictions, I want to point that out. So
I'm just curious as to how many seats it will leave vacant in its wake.
yes.
What you're saying.
The next one, resolution from the town of Norwood regarding rising municipal insurance costs. You've already made a stand on that. We've sent it in. We're against rising insurance. We made it quite clear, but that is also going to AMO as well. I think it's common sense that we're all against rising insurance costs, but it's going to be looked at in detail. The next one, resolution from the town of Aurora regarding the homelessness crisis. We've made known that we don't support homeless. We recognize there's a problem with homelessness. That's also going to go to AMO as well. And Aurora, again, the resolution regarding community safety and insightful speech. I believe it's common knowledge that we condemn acts of terror and violence and violent extremists in Nipissing Township. And this is also going to higher levels. I would suggest that this is common sense again, but in what's happening, what a lot of townships are finding, they're getting snowed under by all these resolutions that they have to support or whatever. So again, we're going to look at how we deal with this in the future. And the last one, we don't like that either. The City of North Bay is strictly information on Provincial Offences Act. This distribution of net shared revenues 2022. Well, there is no shared revenues because they didn't make any money.
This is the second time it's happened in the last few years.
So we used to get revenue, and now because the cost of money, the Provincial Offences Act, it's costing us money. And there's no way around it. The only thing, they're also looking at this Part 3 prosecutions, which would increase the number of prosecutions and more work and less money. So it would cost us even more. So there's no recommendation, nothing there. Basically, it's a bill for, I don't know,
For court costs.
Yeah.
So what we save in policing, we pay out in court costs, shared court costs.
The way that it was set up when it was downloaded to the municipalities is we all got to share the revenue. That's why it's really buying. But this is the second time now in the past few years because COVID put everything so far behind. And I believe it's because the system is changing.
There isn't as much revenue. We're a warm and forgiving society.
So we didn't budget for any expenses. We only budget for revenue. That will be, you'll see that in the end budget.
Yeah.
So that's a short version, but I bet you when you read through it, it was a long version. So anyway, we're going to look at it. So I need a mover and a seconder just to accept it. Thank you, Councillor Yen. Councillor Kirky.
Yeah, I'm going pretty quick.
He knows we have another meeting next week. So say number 2424008, moved by Councillor Yen, seconded by Councillor Kirky. That we accept the correspondence as presented. In favor? Carried. Statements of accounts. And you want you to look it over and see if there's anything that comes to your attention. Councillor Kirky.
Policing, we got a bill, close to the same amount each time.
Yes.
Policing, December 22nd and December 29th.
We missed a bill.
Oh.
They didn't send us the invoice from, I believe it was September.
Yes, it was the September one.
So we had to pay September's and November's, and December's is still outstanding.
Okay.
We were hoping that they just gave us. Nope.
3-1.
we tried. Anything else? Okay, I need a mover and a seconder, Counselor Butler and Counselor Foot. Number R 2024-009, by Counselor Butler, seconded by Counselor Foot, that the statement of accounts dated December 15th, 22nd, 28th, and 29th, 2023, totaling $202,736.63 be approved. All in favor? Carried. Excuse me. The confirming bylaw. I need a mover and a seconder, Counselor Kirky and Counselor Yam. Number R 2024-010. Moved by Counselor Kirky, seconded by Counselor Yam. We pass bylaw number 2024-03, being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on January 2nd, 2024. Read the first, second, and third time and passed the second day of January 2024. All in favor? Carried. And adjourning. Mover and seconder. Okay. Number R 2024-011. Moved by Counselor Butler, seconded by Counselor Kirky, that the meeting be adjourned at 6:58 p.m. Next regular meeting will be on January 16th. Again, it's a special meeting on January 10th, and I'll ask again if there's anybody that can't make that meeting next Wednesday, January 10th at 6:30, when we do the Wills report. And I know this is not usual, but
Try not to do these.
we try not to. So I thank you if everybody can. And I understand if you can't, well, hopefully you would have quorum at the next meeting be adjourned. The next regular meeting to be held January 16th, 2024. All in favor?